I will directly continue with the device management part, what new innovations and improvements we have to share here. First of it will be the new measurement tab, which I've already talked about in last time. It's now in public preview. So the measurement tab actually already exists for a while. The purpose is to investigate which data points are being sent by the device to see whether everything you expect is actually coming in, or if you want to investigate a specific data point. However, in the past, we used to have one graph for each of the data points, which makes it a bit hard to identify specific ones, especially if the data, if your device is sending hundreds of data points, then you have to scroll through all the different graphs. That's why we decided to adopt the Data Explorer that's also available in Cockpit, now also in the Measurement tab, which allows you to basically deactivate and activate each of the data points. We also still have the functionality that this will be pre-filled with each and every data point that is being sent by the device. So we will still get the full overview while being able to activate and deactivate, and thereby manage to see to manage whatever you want to see and to further investigate. Potentially also to correlate different data points in one graph. So this will be an enhancement, making it easier for you to look into the measurements sent by a specific device. That's the first public preview. We also now have the OPC UA integration via ThinEdge as the next public preview. So in the past, we used to have the OPC UA as a standalone component, so the gateway part that needed to be deployed on site to connect to your OPC UA servers. We now moved to a new model, which basically deploys the OPC UA gateway as a Docker container on top of ThinEdge. This brings the benefit that you can do basically the management functionality or your operation of the gateway through ThinEdge, which then takes care of the authentication of the update process and also the communication to the cloud, which makes this part way easier. And you also have the benefit of the OPC UA data now being published in the ThinEdge JSON MQTT format to an MQTT broker. So you also have a way higher degree of flexibility when it comes to transforming and also routing the payload that is being ingested from the servers through the gateway. The next topic, parameterization, which is currently still in private preview. Here we are improving the topic of configuration, which is actually a quite big topic. There are various different things to be covered in use cases, from the communication interval of your device agent, from the way the data is being read from your bus, if you have a Modbus integration or something like that, to the parameterization or defining set points on your asset, so be it the pitch angle of your rotor blade or the temperature of your oven, or if you have a process that you want to control, then you always need to do certain configurations, and basically thereby moving from this unidirectional communication to a bidirectional communication when sending also commands down. For that, we actually already had some functionalities in place, like Cloud Field Bus for configuring Modbus reads or other bus protocol reads, the device shell to send shell commands to the device, as well as the configuration management, which includes the management of configuration files and the deployment of configuration files. But all those options require a certain technical knowledge, in a sense that you need to know what you do. You can potentially also damage your device if you send down the wrong shell commands or the wrong values to your device, because there's no validation of the value ranges that you basically set. And it's also really difficult to use for business users or users that are not deep into the technical integration of your specific device. That's why we now, with parameterization, address this particular issue by providing the ability to basically leverage the property library in the Digital Twin Manager to model parameters, and allowing also to contextualize them, add a description, what is actually the meaning of this parameter, to define a value range, which will then be used also for the validation, And so the device then sends updates or sends parameter updates, which will then be combined with the definition that is being set up in DTM. And for each device that is sending parameter updates, you will then in a dedicated tab see a list of all supported and sent parameters for the device, including then the description and also the chance to edit the value. So you will be able to send down new parameter change commands, and you also will have the kind of auditability functionality in a sense that all operations that will be sent in order to set a new target state will be recorded and will be also here in this operation history. And you will also get the event history basically as a kind of trail showing the changes on the device side. And last but not least, one other feature we are currently working on, which will be available very soon, is the device info dashboard per device type. So we are basically leveraging here the dashboard manager that you might already know in the context of Cockpit. So already quite some time ago, we added the capability to modify the device info page for each device. So each device has a device info page, which was consists of a specific set of widgets in the past. We made this editable and customizable, but only on a per device level. And especially if you're operating larger fleets of devices, it's quite tricky and it's a lot of effort to basically maintain and manage that in a larger scale. And that's why we are basically here also leveraging now the dashboard manager, allowing you to only set up this desired dashboard for a specific device type once, define this as a kind of blueprint, and also apply this blueprint then to each and every device of this type, and also manage these dashboards, which makes this process way easier. And that's basically already it. I would here like to also forward to Ruben, who will introduce you to the next innovations that we have in this space of ThinEdge. Thanks.
Hi. Thanks, Aaron. Hi, everyone. My name is Ruben Miller. I'm the product owner for ThinEdge. So since last time we spoke, we have had a new release of ThinEdge 1.6. where on top of all the additional kind of like minor improvements and bug fixes, which are all detailed on our 100% open source project, I want to go over some of the main kind of feature highlights. So firstly, we have a new diagnostic command, which enables enables users to easily collect diagnostic information on the device. I'll go into that deep dive a little bit on the next slide. But it just kind of eases the story if you want to create a ticket or trying to diagnose what's going on to gather all of the information you need to then do that post-analysis. The second feature is an extension to the configuration management to also support the creation of parent directories. And whilst that might sound really, really mundane, it's actually really powerful for two reasons. Or I wanted to highlight it for two reasons. The first one, this enables a seamless kind of integration with device profiles. So with device profiles that you can couple configuration management updates, but also like software updates. So you can actually do the preparation, which may be required for actually installing software. So you can kind of pre-configure your application before installing it. So that means the first time it comes up, it has all of the required configuration it needs. So the second point why this is interesting is, I think this is a great example that this feature was actually introduced by a customer. So a customer created an issue on GitHub and then made their case, and we were like, that makes 100% sense. That would be a great addition to ThinEdge, and then we implemented it. So it just shows that by being able to post a ticket on GitHub, you can really contribute to the project. Like, it doesn't have to be a code change. The last part would be continuing our kind of hardware security module support and integration, especially when it comes to users of the Cumulocity certificate authority feature. So now that we have seamless integration with HSMs, so this means once you've issued a certificate, everything will renew the certificate automatically for you. So there's no special handling that you have to do for the HSMs once you've done the initial setup. So it's really like a hands-off kind of approach to then to handle your certificate renewals, which is absolutely critical when you're talking about cloud communication. The last thing you want to happen is your certificate expires and then you're not be able to connect to the cloud. So I wanted to highlight one of the diagnostic collection, just to give a bit of an insight how we kind of approach things within Edge. So we always had a bit of a problem that, if someone created a customer ticket and said, hey, something's not working properly, we always had like a bit of back and forth with the customer saying, what do I need to diagnose the issue? And so we kind of put our minds together and thought, okay, let's make a easy to use command, which then collect all the data necessary. But whilst we want to provide like the information that we need to diagnose your application or the problem, we also want to expose that as a plugin interface to allow you to also then assist your customers. So you can add like additional application diagnostic information to that kind of collected diagnostic information. So if you need to support your customers and you're building your solution on top of ThinEdge, then it's quite critical that you also have your business layer and applications included in that diagnostic collection. And like anything that we do, we always like to make sure that all these different features play nicely with each other. So a while back, we added support for doing a binary upload to Cumulocity. So you can use this diagnostic command to seamlessly then upload that to Cumulocity if your connection is then working at the time. So I think it's a good way that we just highlight how we work and how we're thinking a little bit more broader scope, that we're not just thinking of us, but we're also thinking of how can people extend it to then meet their use case. Then I wanted to give a bit of an update on what's next. So some of the upcoming features. So these are actually merged into main branch already. So they'll be in the next release, which is scheduled shortly. So the first one is a missing feature that we've had for quite a while. So we'll now enable users to publish units to measurements. So for Cumulocity users out there, this has been kind of like the missing feature for a while now. So we finally implemented that so people can use it to then have units attached to their measurements. So you get all of the out-of-box kind of experience in Cumulocity to see what units your measurements are in. Then we also have a great extension to the log interface. So we're actually opening up the log interface to create a plugin concept. So for those users familiar with the software management plugin, it's very similar to that. So this enables us to deliver journal D, so like the system D kind of logger out of the box. So you can collect application information from those applications that are connected via journal D. So this means you can also populate the list dynamically of all the different log types based on your service. So if you install a service, which is a system D, you don't need to configure anything in the log plugin anymore. It will automatically detect it, and then you can fetch the logs accordingly. So you'll see that kind of propagate through all of our other plugins, like the Tej container plugin, once this feature gets released. And the last feature, which there's an open PR and not merged yet, is about the last kind of integration with the hardware security module that we want to add a new command to make it easy for users to create a private key, which is like the initial process on onboarding advice. So we want to make that with out-of-the-box CLI commands from ThinEdge. So just to reduce kind of dependency on third-party tooling and really make it a seamless approach if you're using HSM or not HSM. So as always, you can create tickets for us on GitHub or look at our code if you want to kind of dive into any of the features or PRs as we merge them.